Hello, and welcome back to a special episode of the Minnesota State Park Hiking Club Trail Series. Today we traveled to Granite Falls and took a walk around Upper Sioux Agency State Park. We are first of all giving farewell to Upper Sioux Agency State Park, which is being transferred back to control of the Upper Sioux Community. The park was established in 1963 to preserve the remains of the old agency site. The park covers 1,280 acres and offers diverse biomes to explore: open prairie knolls, bluffs, and cool, wooded slopes. It was another great park to take your horses for horseback riding in addition to hiking and skiing. The Yellow Medicine Agency, which the park preserves, was established in 1851 when the Dakota Indians from Iowa and Minnesota were moved into an area, a 20-mile wide reservation along the Minnesota River Valley extending from Big Stone Lake to Fort Ridgely. The agency barely lasted 10 years as it was destroyed in the U.S.-Dakota War of 1862. Typically, I'd give you a brief description of the State Park Hiking Club Trail, but as the park is closing, I'll simply describe the path that we took, which intersected with the State Park Hiking Club Trail on numerous occasions, but didn't follow it foot by foot. The trail started out by the parking lot area, which has a series of picnic tables and some boarded up porta potties. It enters the woods and immediately started downward towards the river valley, although this portion of the trail never made it to the river's edge, as it turns shortly before the plains and runs through the woods. The walk through the woods is a wonderful scene. There are different varieties of trees and old mossy fallen logs, and many different varieties of mushrooms. The hike spends a lot of time on the edge of the woods, close enough that you can look out on the prairie and field, but without actually going out to it. It's in the river valley, so I couldn't help wondering while I was hiking where the water level comes up to in the spring, when the Minnesota River Valley likes to flood heavily. After the woods, you eventually come out into a small prairie on the side of the hill, and from the prairie below you can see a similar grassy prairie above on a nearby hill. The trail follows along the hill and brings you to the campground. There are sites at the campground that have teepees that you can rent. The only other state park in the Minnesota system that has similar accommodations is at Blue Mounds State Park. The campsites and path continue along the river before the trail crosses the road and heads back into the central area of the park. The next biome we explored was the elevated prairie on the hill, as this section of the trail brought us to the upper area of the hill we'd been hiking on the side of. We chose to head right to walk across the elevated prairie, and we were not disappointed. The vista from atop the hill was quite impressive. We also heard screeching eagles calling out in the fog. If we hadn't identified the sound, it would have made the hike extra eerie. My favorite part of the park is, as with most historical remains, that of the Yellow Medicine Agency. The site is near the end of the trail, and you are able to walk up and explore around it. There's only one building left standing, a reconstruction of one of the old employee duplex houses. The other sites simply have the foundations there to show where the buildings stood. One particular portion of signage and history is that one of the buildings, half destroyed after the U.S.-Dakota War, was used as a frontier store for several years afterwards, showing how, even through terrible things, people didn't just give up. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Also, don't forget to let us know your favorite trails in your local area.